Hi everyone. Good evening again. Welcome to our second show, which is University of Western Kentucky representative session. Today we have with us Savannah White and Bryson. They are representative of Western Kentucky University. But addition to that, we have another student from Western Kentucky, Subarna. She's from India, but she's a student diplomat, and she's also studying with some scholarship. So it will be amazing for you to get as many information possible from her. All right. But before we start the show, let's see the video again. Let's see what is EdVibe is all about. Thank you so much. All right. So again, what an amazing video and what amazing works they are doing, right? So first of all, let me start the session by introducing and inviting Savannah. She's working with the Western Kentucky University, WKU, we say. Hi, Savannah.
Hello, good evening to you in Bangladesh. Good morning from Kentucky. Thank you so much for having us. I so wish that we were instead visiting you in person.
I know.
When we can travel again. Thank you so much, Mushfiq.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Savannah, waking up in the morning and joining us our session. To all the students, me and Savannah, we met few years back in Kathmandu, Nepal, and ever since we've been planning that when I'll bring her to Dhaka and when we'll show her around and when she will get the opportunity to talk amazing students like you. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but at least we have a starter here. At least she can have a session with you and you can hear her virtually, her amazingness you can experience. Without further ado, I'll leave the platform to you, Savannah. From now onwards, the show is yours. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Well, good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited that even though sadly it's not in person, we do get the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about Western Kentucky University, which is where we're broadcasting to you from right now. So all the way over on the other side of the world. I'm so fortunate usually to get to travel and meet amazing advisors like Mushfiq, and then he coincidentally introduces me to incredible students like you. And so we're really grateful for the opportunity for us this morning to be able to come in and share just a little bit about our institution because we're pretty proud of it. I'm super excited today because I have brought with me two special guests. First of all is Bryson Keltner. Bryson is our international student admissions counselor. He's also our main recruiter. So he's the one that primarily, that way, is going to be traveling out on the road to see you guys. So I brought him along so that he could share with you a little bit more about WKU, and we will definitely try to keep our presentation short. So there's plenty of time for questions and answers. And we also have a third special guest that Bryson will introduce to you here in a little bit that I think is really going to be good value for you guys.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining. We're thrilled to be here. Again, my name is Bryson, and I am responsible for helping amazing students like yourselves come over and study with us and discover your dreams, fulfill your passions, and have a really good quality education here in Kentucky with us. So again, thank you for joining. I've got a little presentation for you. Again, we want to try to keep it brief. So let me just share my screen here. One moment. All right, can everyone see the presentation there? Savannah, do you want to confirm?
No presentation.
No presentation. All right, sorry. One moment, technical difficulties, technology, you gotta love it, right? All right. My sincerest apologies. All right.
That's okay. We can probably just go through.
Yeah, let's just, we can just go through. So let me just tell you a little bit about Western Kentucky University. So at WKU, we are an institution of about 20,000 students. So we get all of the big major resources of a major institution in the US, but we have a very small feel. So our average class size is only about 24 students. And what that means is it's a very individualized experience. Your professor will know your name. You'll be able to raise your hand, ask questions. You're not just a number in a crowd. But with that, also, we have a huge international flair at WKU. We very much value international presence. So we have students from all over the world. Last time I checked, we had about 65 different countries represented. And we have programs that go all over the world as far as short-term study abroad programs. So if you're a student here, you can even go to other places around the world in the US to study for a little while and have even more cultural experiences. We have 170 different undergraduate programs and about 80 master's programs at WKU. So pretty much everything you can imagine. But I will say we're probably most known for our journalism, healthcare, humanities, business, and computer sciences. So again, lots of different things to choose from. We're also known as a very, very safe school. In fact, we are ranked in the top 4 safest campus communities in the entire US. So we take safety as our #1 priority at WKU. And I do wish that I could show you this, this presentation with photos because we're also a very beautiful campus. We're known in some of the most beautiful campuses in all of the southern United States. We are in Bowling Green, Kentucky. If you're not familiar with Kentucky, you might have heard at least because of, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I promise we're a lot more than KFC, but we are in Kentucky, which is pretty centrally located in the US. And my favorite thing about that is we experience all 4 seasons very well because of our location. So we get a little hot, a little cold, a little snow. So that's really nice as well. We are a very rural area, so we are surrounded by all kinds of different beautiful farmland, forests, trees, lakes, absolutely gorgeous, but we are right next to a major city. So we're an hour away from Nashville, Tennessee, which is the music capital of the world, in case you didn't know. So there's all kinds of different live music venues and things down there. Another big part of our campus at WKU is sports. We have Division I sports, so they're a big part of our campus culture. So people who don't even like sports go to the sporting events. It's kind of a hangout opportunity. And there are so many different things happening on campus besides sports as well. We have all kinds of different performances, different musical things, different guest lecturers, and there are over 300 different student organizations on campus. So there are intramural sports, there are volunteer service opportunities, there are clubs and organizations that have to do with different majors like a business fraternity and a chemistry club. So there's a lot going on besides what you'll be learning. Obviously, you're coming to get an education, but you want to enjoy this experience as well and have a good time here in the US. I do want to briefly mention our admissions requirements and a couple scholarship opportunities, and then we will get started with some Q&A sessions so you can ask our questions. So for undergraduate admissions, we will need a high school transcript with a 2.5 grade point average on the American scale. So basically, we do all of our evaluations in-house. You'll just send us your transcript of your marks, and we will evaluate that for you and convert it into the American scale. We'll also need an English proficiency certificate. So basically, a TOEFL or IELTS. If you take the TOEFL, we'll need a 71 and IELTS will need a 6.0. We have a few other different examinations that we can use as well, but we will just need one of those English proficiencies. Lastly, we have a quick online application, and I can share with you our website at the end so you can learn more about that. And that's pretty much all that we need for an admission decision for you. Master's graduate programs are a little bit different. We still need an English proficiency, but for that, it's a little bit higher. So the TOEFL is a 79, the IELTS is 6.5. We will need an application as well on our website. And then aside from that, all of our master's programs have a few different admissions requirements. So some require a GMAT exam, some of them require a GRE. It kind of depends on the program itself. So my advice to you, if you're interested in one of our master's programs, is to go to our website. We have all of our different programs listed as well as their admissions requirements, so you can see exactly what you need. And lastly, before we kind of turn it over to a question and answer section, I do want to talk about scholarships. So for our undergraduate students, we have a lot of different merit scholarships. We have some of them that are extremely just based on your grade point average that we'll calculate from your transcript. But we do have a portal system called Top Dollar. And basically for that, you can go in, put in a little bit of information about yourself. And there are several other scholarship opportunities that will pop up that you can apply for and apply those on top of merit scholarships. Another one is our international student diplomats, who our next guest is going to talk about in just a moment. So I'll let her talk about those. And then also we have our graduate assistantships. So if you go for a master's program, a graduate program, we have assistantships in every single different program that we're studying. Some of them have different criteria, but you can get partial or sometimes even full funding for your program for a graduate degree. So I'm actually going to, sorry, Savannah.
Yeah, if you don't care, I wanted to talk about one more thing really fast too. Our iPass program. And so depending on where you're at in the process, we recognize that we had some students who may want to go ahead and get started on their degree, but they maybe didn't want to travel into the U.S. right now, which I would completely understand. I don't know that I would necessarily want to go and travel a bunch of different places right now. Safety is really important, right? But we have this new program that we've developed, and it's called IPASS. IPAS, which stands for the International Pathway to Academic Success. And it is a transitionary program specifically designed like an academic academy to help students really integrate into the U.S. education system. And so right now we're beginning courses for that online with the intention to transition students physically onto campus, potentially in the spring, maybe even next fall. But it's a pretty incredible program, and it's all really built around taking students who have learned in an educational system outside the U.S. and really integrating them into the U.S. systems to hopefully help set you up for success. If you want to go, like Bryson said, we can give you some more information about our website. But if you wanted to check out wku.edu/international, you'll find all the information about our programs, and you'll find many places where you can reach out and ask us questions. And as Bryson said, he will introduce Suvarna here in just a moment. But not only do we have awesome staff members like Bryson to help answer questions that you may have, but we actually have a team of students, and their whole responsibility is to answer any questions that you have and talk to you about integrating into the U.S. Even if you just have questions about going to college in the U.S., they don't have to be specific to WKU. And all of these students are also international students, so they've been through what you're going through. I always say that you're incredibly brave to make the decision to study in a completely different country for your undergraduate degree, graduate degree, any. I don't know that I would have been brave enough to do it then. So definitely props to you, and please take advantage of the student resources and programs like our iPass to help, because we want you to be successful. That's the thing, WKU may not be the best fit for everyone. We know that, but we want to help you determine if it is a good fit for you, because the students who come here and it is a good fit for, they're successful. We have a really great OPT rate. So several of our students go on into that practical training, great internship opportunities. And the one thing about WKU is that classroom learning is obviously very important, but we're really mainly focused on hands-on experience opportunities, because we want to prepare our students to be able to go out into the workforce and have real, tangible, hands-on experience, not just experience that they read about in books, but experiences that they have themselves in person.
Absolutely. So as Savannah was saying, we have our international student diplomats, and I love the diplomats so much because I can talk about WKU all day long, but I was an American student who attended WKU. I'm an alumni, by the way, of Western Kentucky. But since I can't give you that perspective, our diplomats do a phenomenal job. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Sabarna, who is one of our international student diplomats. So do you want to come on and say hi and share a little bit about your diplomat experience here at WKU?
Hello, everyone. I'm Sabarna. I have recently joined the International Diplomat program, which is quite prestigious in its own way because here we get to share our experiences as students and guide these students to take the path that helps them succeed over time while completing their educational requirements and exploring where you are. My role as a student alumni, okay, let me explain who I am. I came to Western Kentucky from New Delhi, India, your neighbors, by the way, to pursue my master's. I finished it in 2017. Savannah mentioned about OPT. I went on to do my OPT. I worked for a year. And then because I wanted to add doctorate to I always wanted to do doctorate. So at present, I'm doing my doctoral program at Western Kentucky University. So I'm an alumni and a student. So that role is something. And the reason why I've chosen to come back to Western Kentucky, mainly because of the atmosphere and how everyone interacts with one another. I don't feel alone here. I never felt alone here. Anytime if I had any questions, any doubts, any time of anxiety, they're always there. And I'm talking about them, the ones you see on the screen, Savannah and Bryson. And there is another couple of people, like a group of people who are always there to help you. And as an international diplomat, I can assure you, I not only have my international student experience, but also how collectively, if we work together, when you come here and you are doing your dues and keeping everything straight and knowing that there is someone in the corner to assist you at any time you need them, it helps you gradually move to that point that you are right now dreaming of, to have a diploma or a degree from the US, whether it's undergrad, master's, doctorate, whatever it is that you're looking for. They help you reach there, and we are those little elements that walk besides you every step of the way, giving you personal experiences and sharing it with you so that you feel at home, not away from home.
Thank you so much, Barna. That was lovely representation of your time here. So now we will get started. If you have any questions for us, I think we already have a few of them based on what I can tell. So any questions about WKU itself, or just coming to the US, if you want to ask one of us, Savannah or I, if you want to ask about perspective of being an actual international student, you can ask Subarna. So we are here for you. It looks like we have one about predictive grades. So let me talk a little bit about your actual application and acceptance. So basically, we can accept an unofficial transcript. If you're coming in for an undergraduate degree, we can accept an unofficial transcript to admit you to the university. So what that means, you can actually take a scan or a photo of your actual transcript, and we can use that to admit you. And that can also include, if you're not done with your current high school time, that's perfectly all right. We can still admit you. We don't need all your full grades. However, we will need your full official transcript before you can enroll in courses here. So what a lot of our international students do, they will submit their unofficial transcript, again, a copy or a scan, and they will bring an official transcript with them, sealed copy to campus with them, or they will send over an official e-copy after they have completed their high school. So that is perfectly fine if you have predictive grades for the admittance. We'll just need those full grades at some point before you enroll. Looks like we have one. Do we have the opportunity of in-campus job or outside of campus? So I will say that it is under U.S. law. International students are not allowed to work off campus because you're on a student visa, and that would require a work visa. However, there are several different opportunities to work on campus. I believe you can go up to 20 hours a week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Subarna.
I would like to incorporate my this thing. So I am a GA, grad assistant. I work 20 hours a week. And one of the benefits of being a grad, of course, I'm talking for grad courses, graduate programs for the masters and so on and so forth. But I'm sure there are opportunities for undergrads as well, teacher assistant and all that. So scholarships are definitely available. I am on scholarship. I get my tuition waiver. Plus, I'm an international student diplomat. That also comes with a scholarship. And I get a stipend. So that in-campus job is not only beneficial for an overall experience, but it definitely benefits you in cost cutting a lot of those costs that you might be worried about. You just have to apply for it, put in your information to your maximum ability so that they can review it with proper understanding of who you are, what you can bring to the team. Bryson, go ahead. Sorry.
No, absolutely. That's a perfect answer. So yes, so many different opportunities. If you do want to work on campus, there you can work in our research labs. You can work in our offices as a student assistant, receptionist. You can work on our on-campus restaurants. Work as a resident advisor. So you're responsible for keeping track of people in our residence halls and being their point of contact if they need anything. So there's so many different opportunities for working on campus.
You could even work for me. I have student marketing assistants. So my role at WKU, not only do I travel and meet with prospective students, but my main job is communication with international students. And we run the Instagram accounts, the Facebook accounts, website. We make digital marketing materials now because we're not doing as many in person. We do marketing videos. And so I hire marketing assistants, students to help work with me to create those. So if, business and marketing is something that you're interested in, there are also positions related to your field potentially on campus, depending on what that is in your area of study.
All right, so it looks like we have another question here. Can I apply using my A-level predicted grades? So with that, if you're on the A and O level system, we can actually admit you off of your O levels with that. And then if you take your A levels and complete those and you meet a certain requirement, we can actually give you college credit as transfer credit based off of those A levels. So that's definitely a good plus, right? Because that means you're going to do your degree faster and for less money because you've already gotten some of those transfer credits from your A's.
I'd love to take the next question. I'm sure Subarna can talk about it too, as she's just coming into the diplomat program this year. But what are some of the activities that has been executed by international students in WKU, which are worth mentioning? So I'm actually one of the co-advisors for the International Student Diplomats, which is the program that Subarna is a member of this year. My other co-advisor is not here today. Her name is Wes, but she's also one of the people that's on the team that's here to kind of help guide you through. And that group of students is in charge of putting together programming for students once they arrive on campus, but we're also looking into programming before students arrive on campus too, just so that you feel like you make a friend and you know some faces before you can arrive. During the semester, they've thrown Halloween parties, Thanksgiving meals, language exchange, coffee hours. We really wanted to do an international festival this year. That's something that our students were looking into. We did what's called a de-stress fest last year. So we brought all the students in right before finals and we had some yoga and we gave them snacks and Scantrons for taking exams, a plethora of activities because we understand that, making friends can be a little bit difficult, right? And so we want to make sure that you have plenty of opportunities to meet people. So I know Subarna is going to want to talk about this. She's already down there raising that hand.
Well, Savannah mentioned mostly everything. 90% of it. One of the most important things that I would like to say that Western Kentucky incorporates all cultural holidays, celebrations, festivities into their organizational ways of celebrating it. For example, Ramadan is celebrated in a big way here. and that is totally put up by the. Give me a second, my lighter keeps going off. Sorry. So it's a sensor. I'm not moving apparently. Anyways, so Ramadan is celebrated in a very big way, in a way that it's the international, like this organization is what it does. They present meals that are specifically, Middle Eastern or Bangladesh, or incorporating those cultural foods for the Ramadan. And trust me, as a student, I look forward to those. This year, of course, pandemic came. So besides pandemic, that's always celebrated wonderful. See, I'm already excited about food. It always, I don't know why. But anyways, that is one thing. And that is one of those things. I'm from India. We celebrate Holi. The student associations also put that up, the Festival of Color. And the good thing about being here is it's not a centered approach of celebrating. They include everyone to participate and see what it is to be, partaking in these festivities and stuff. Plus, American holidays like Thanksgiving, Halloween, and then there are fall festivities when the football season kicks off. And there are like different things there's plenty to do when you come here. If you keep up with all the activities, I'll tell you, you won't have a single hour in your day where you can have it for yourself. There's a lot of things to do around here. So culturally, intercultural, American, you'll see a plethora of cultural activities going around you. And one of the best things to do is participate, connect, communicate, because you get to meet most of your lifelong friends in these events. That's one of the things. When you come in, you will at first feel what's going on, and then you'll be like, we are the ones who will help you connect with everybody else, where you can make, something where you can look up to, like, what am I supposed to do today if I'm free? What should I look forward to my week in, at a glance? So there's a lot of things to do for sure.
Awesome answers, everyone. Looks like our next question, if my ECA is very low, then will it affect my application? So for that, Savannah did a wonderful job explaining our pathways programs, but there are kind of two components to our pathways. So one is basically enabling your success both at WKU and studying in the US. And it's just to kind of get you on track, get you accustomed to studying within a U.S. institution. But the other kind of component to that is for our students that don't quite meet our benchmarks. So you can actually still be accepted to WKU and enroll in classes at WKU if your scores are just slightly below the benchmark we require. You can't be significantly lower. But if it is slightly lower, we can actually put you in the Pathways program and give you a little additional help as you start your success here at WKU. So for information about those requirements, I would encourage you to email us and we can go over those with you. And I don't think I've given our email yet. It is iem@wku.edu. So we can discuss those for sure. If one doesn't get a good higher secondary result, will it affect my choosing the subjects in the university? So that's a good question. So basically, a lot of our undergraduate programs are pretty much, if you get accepted to university, you automatically go into the program that you choose. However, there are a few exceptions. So for example, our nursing program. The nursing program has a few requirements and requires an application in addition to the university itself. So there are a few different subjects that could play into effect, but for the most part, if you get accepted to the university, you would go directly into your undergraduate program. That also is a little different for master's programs. So like I said, each master's program kind of requires something different. Some will require a GRE exam, some will require a GMAT, some will require a certain grade point average. So again, that is up to the discretion of the graduate program itself. What is the minimum percentage required to get into your university? So I'm assuming that is with grades and scores as a question. So again, we look for a 2.5 grade point average on the American scale for our undergraduate students. And again, that's up to the graduate program itself for those. And then with English proficiencies. We have several of those. I believe there is another question on down about what English proficiency we prefer. There's not a certain one that we prefer over the other. We can do IELTS or TOEFL, or several different other ones, SAT, ACT. There's not a certain one that we prefer, but most of our students do an IELTS or TOEFL. We're looking for either a 71 or a 6.0 for undergrad. We're looking for a 79 or a 6.5 for grad. But again, there are several other options you can do. Those are just kind of the two that we deal with the most for our international students. I'm not sure, how are we doing on time? I just want to make sure we're being mindful of everyone's time. Don't want to keep you all too long. Savannah, how much longer do we have?
We have some more time. We've
Okay.
got a little longer to go.
All right, just making sure. Another question, how is GPA calculated? So grade point average, that's a good question. Again, we at WKU do our evaluations in-house. So some universities in the US require you to get that evaluated by a third party or an outside source. We do not. So if you send us your transcript, we will go class by class and say this student in Bangladesh got this in their high school or at their university. This is what it equals to on the American scale. And then we will convert your grade point average, which is on a 4.0 scale for you. So yeah, that will be part of your application as well. Let's see, what are the important steps a student should take to cope with the environment for going there? So Subarna, I think that's a really good question for you.
I actually don't see the question on my screen.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, so what are the important steps a student should take to cope with the environment after going there?
There are several things that students should take into consideration depending on the situation that you're facing. Whenever it's about coping mechanism, it all depends on the circumstance that you're in. First things first is communicating with your professors. If you are struggling with the course or you're stuck somewhere or you have questions, doubts, anything, one-on-one with the professor, you have to clarify your doubts, everything you have in a formal tone with the professors. And in my experience, they always come through. They always are there to support you through your academic journey. Besides that, of course, the international student team is there. If you have any concerns about your hours, your requirements, what you should do, like in the upcoming semesters to go through, or an outline, a program outline as to what you can take, what courses you can enroll for in the coming, semesters that you're going to be enrolled at WKU. They assist you with that too. They can create a plan. They can give you somewhat easier ways to adapt to your course curriculum. But I'll tell you, once you attend the first semester, you already get a hang of it. You understand the educational requirements stated by each course module. There is a very set of rules, and then there are different set of rules for different courses. So once you tackle that first semester, once you have undergone that whole repertoire of taking classes and doing exams if required, and how things are conducted here, education is different from where we come from and what's in the United States. One of the biggest things that you learn on the very first day, whether it's orientation or anything, it's about plagiarism, which is a long topic. You can learn that once you get into it. But if you get intimidated by it because you're not used to it, don't be. Because within a semester of working with your professors in the class, in the coursework, you learn and you understand what to do, what not to do. So those are quite self-explanatory. And for coping, of course, we are there. If you need to just talk, if you just need to vent, if you just need to have a conversation, just contact us. We are your peers. You have to forget about the fact that we are international student diplomats, because that's just a title. We are your peers. We are just someone who has been through something that you're coming in new, as a experience. So anything that burdens you, because we understand more than anything else how it feels like to be thousands of miles away from home. when you're not under your comfort zone. Your parents aren't there, your siblings aren't there, you're by yourself. And sometimes friends can be helpful, sometimes not. So it's always better to have someone to talk to who has been through exactly what you're going through. That's what we're here for. That is one of your major coping mechanisms you can use. We are at your disposal at times when you need us. And as I said, most of it is learn and go, hands-on experience. When you come here, you actually learn and you find your resources. And Western has a lot of resources to help students when it comes to additional, academic support, tutors, academic tutors. And then if you're having trouble understanding what a paper needs to look like when you're, here, one of those things is the writing center, where they assist you in understanding the format of writing and so much more. Like, if I start listing these things, there's a lot. It's better when you learn it, when you come here and you learn about it all in your own, understanding realm.
Absolutely. And Subarna, I think you have an appointment, if I'm not mistaken, so you might need
I have a student appointment at 11:30, but I told the student that I'm going to be a bit late because I'm already busy with something else. But I am here if you need me till 11:45.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So we will keep the questions going.
Yes.
And I do think I misread a question just a few moments ago for ECA. So you asked about extracurricular activities. So my mistake in misreading that. So you asked if extracurricular activities would depend or would have a factor in your acceptance. So for undergraduate students, we do not look at extracurricular activities for admission. However, some of our graduate programs, like I said, all of them have different requirements. Some of them will require a resume. So that resume might include some things that you've been involved in, if that's relevant to your course or whatnot. So again, that is dependent upon the graduate program itself. Good question. Next question. Are financial aids available for international students? Also, can international students apply for scholarships? So for scholarships, there is not federal financial aid in regards to like a FAFSA, which is what American students have to do in the US, but there are scholarships available for undergraduate students. So again, we have our merit scholarships that is completely based off of grade point average, which we will calculate like I have said. For that, our students usually get up to $8,000. But again, that's completely dependent on your grades. But on top of that merit scholarship, we have that portal program I was talking about. So it's called Top Dollar, and you'll receive some information about that after you get accepted to WKU. And basically, there are a plethora of other scholarships that some of those will depend on extracurriculars. Some of those will depend on merit. Some of those require additional applications. So you can apply for several of those. And like I said, you'll be able to stack those on top of that merit scholarship. Another one is the International Student Diplomat Program that Subarna is part of. So it is a scholarship program as well. I believe it is $1,500 if I'm not mistaken. And then, like I was saying, for graduate students, we have graduate assistantship. So for that, you'll have basically a contract to work with your department where you're studying and get either partial or sometimes even full funding for your program. Would you like to add anything, Savannah or Subarna?
Savannah?
Well, I was just going to say there are a lot of questions here coming through about scholarships and specifics with scholarships, how much we offer, what the minimum requirements are and things like that. You know, there are so many different options for you. A lot of that is really just going to depend on your specific scenario, what you're looking to study. There may be even specific funds in the program that you're looking to study in. What I would recommend that you do if you have questions, reach out to our team. Again, like Bryson said, it's iem@wku.edu or applyinternational@wku.edu. Either one of those email addresses is going to take you through to Bryson, myself, or Amy. And we can help answer those questions that you have. It's really hard to tell you what the max amount of scholarships that you could get would be because we need to know some more information about you. And there also, if you go to wku.edu/international, it'll guide you through the application process, but as well as the scholarship process. And that's the one thing that I will say. You don't have to be alone and filling out scholarship applications or essays or trying to determine what a good fit for you is. That's what we're here for. We're here to kind of help you determine what your opportunities are, to help guide you as you apply for those opportunities. You know, yes, there are lots of different options that can apply to you depending on your own characteristics, but we're going to help guide you through that to make that as simple as possible.
Absolutely. Another question. Let's see. Has WKU waived the SAT for fall 21 due to the pandemic? So we actually don't require the SAT, and that is something very different about us in comparison to a lot of universities in the U.S. We do not require the SAT or ACT for admission for international students. You can, however, use the SAT for your English proficiency. So like I said, we'll need some form of English proficiency from you, and we can accept the SAT. We're looking for a 450 within the critical language, but we do not require the SAT for admission. Good question. Again, Savannah said, you know, if you have specific scholarship questions, absolutely reach out to us and we can talk specifics. Yes, Subarna.
I'm going to bid you because I really have to go now because one of the students is now waiting. I'm helping you. Again, if you need any answers, I hope they will share my info with you too. Please direct them to me and I will help you as much as I can to the best of my knowledge and based on my experience. So I will say goodbye now and I hope this webinar helps you get one step closer to, you know, like understanding the answers to your questions about coming to an American university. It is an amazing experience. My parting thoughts is there is no other experience than going to another country and performing and adapting and learning. This is a lifetime experience. Let me tell you, being away is one aspect of it. There is a lot more that comes with it. So consider that a lot of things, including academics, of course, but remember this is a experiential thing more than that goes way beyond academics. So I'm here. If you need any questions, just again direct them to me however they would like it to be done. And it was great talking to you all, and I hope I was of some help, if something that I could offer. So thank you for having me. It was great being a part of this.
Thanks so much, Subarna.
Thank you, Subarna.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right. So again, several questions about different types of scholarships and their requirements. So again, absolutely reach out to us and we could get all those specific questions answered. I don't want to spend too much time on one specific scholarship or another. Let's see, jump down here to WKU will evaluate international students as they don't require the SAT. So again, how will we evaluate them? Okay, so we, like I said, don't require the SAT or the ACT, but we do require that English proficiency exam. So again, a TOEFL or an IELTS or the SAT, we can use that. And then, so we'll use that score, but we will also evaluate your grades. So like I said, we will evaluate your transcript, we'll convert it into the American Grade Point Average Scale. And that and the English proficiency are the two big things that we will use for your admission. So again, no SAT requirement for international students. Other questions, anything about living on campus, campus safety, sports, OPT, or anything like that? We're happy to answer those questions as well.
Okay. Well, like I said before, please make sure that you check out wku.edu/international. We are on Facebook, WKU International. We are on Instagram, WKU International. You can also go to our website, and other students like Subarna, including Subarna, there are forms where you can open up live chats with them and ask them questions. And if you would like to do a private Skype session or video WhatsApp or chat with us on WhatsApp, you can. We're here to help any way that we can.
Absolutely. So if there's no other questions, that's really all we had. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in for us this evening. We really appreciate it. We know it's a little late for you all, but we really appreciate your time. All right.
Can we talk about campus environment? Looks like we've got a couple more questions.
Oh, we have a couple more questions. Okay. Campus environment. So as far, I guess I could go two different routes with that. So first off, I guess we could go actual environment. So what's the weather like and whatnot? We get all 4 seasons very well. It does get quite warm in the summer. It gets quite cold in the winter. We do get a little bit of snow. But then also just like our surroundings of campus. So again, it's very rural outside of our city. Bowling Green is our city, and it's about 67,000. So it's a very small city, but there is a lot going on there, all kinds of different restaurants and whatnot. And then, like I said, we're next door to Nashville, Tennessee, a major city. But then within our campus itself, there are so many things happening, so many different events. Sporting events, musical events, concerts, guest lecturers. There are all kinds of different clubs and activities. And then our campus itself is actually very compact because it's on a hill. So we actually call ourselves the Hilltoppers. That's our kind of mascot and self-identifying thing, is a hilltopper. But the great thing about our campus being on a big hill is you can kind of cut around the hill, go over the hill, through whatever you need to do. And even though we are a pretty big university, you can be wherever you're going on campus within about 15 minutes. And that's rare as well for a large university in the US, because some campuses are so spread out that you actually have to plan your classes around where they're physically located because you can't get to your next class. And that's not the case here at WKU. So that environment is really great as well. The alumni status of WKU. You might be asking about how many alumni we have, and I actually don't know that information. If you really want to email us, I can look it up for you. But we do have thousands and thousands of alumni. We have been around since 1906, and each student body is around 20,000 students, which we haven't been running that large the entire time, but we do have several alumni through the years for sure. And then as far as your opportunities after your studies here, we have an exceptional OPT rate. We have actually an advisor within our International Student Services office. He basically, his main job is helping students get to where they want to go after their studies. And he has almost a 90% success rate. So he's very good at what he does. So we have, several of our students go on to do OPT after they become alumni of WKU. Several of our students go on to do incredible things back in their home countries. So our alumni are very successful for the most part. Any other questions? I do see where, so Savannah actually had to leave us as well because she had a very important meeting to duck out. So she apologizes for that. She just sent me a little message. Do WKU and study gap? I'm not sure. Could you rephrase that question? I'm not exactly sure of what you're asking. I'm seeing it's a large university. Will I get a response if I contact you guys through the mail? Absolutely. So if you want to send us, a physical thing through the actual mail, we'll get back to you. Be much quicker though to send us an email. So like I said, our email is iem@wku.edu. And that email is actually shared with several of our people in our office. So we ensure that you will get a timely response. So if you send us at a time where it's, late at night here, you'll probably not get a response till the next day. But we do pride ourselves in trying to get back to you relatively quickly when you give us an email. What kind of sport opportunities in WKU on campus? That's a good question. So like I said, sports are a huge part of our culture here at WKU. We are a Division I school. So our sports are huge, meaning the fact that there are huge sporting venues. The crowds are always packed. It's a big thing. We definitely are our biggest sporting events are our football games. Football being American football, not the kind of kick. But those are huge. We have huge tailgating events, so people come out and barbecue different foods and play different games before our football games even start. It's a huge thing. But our basketball, our volleyball, softball, baseball, soccer, track and field, tennis, those are all huge at WKU as well, as far as going to attend sporting events. But then we also have, if you just want to play for fun, we have several intramural sports on campus. And we have, all of those main sports that I mentioned that are popular in the US, but we also have some very unique and bizarre ones. So one of our intramural sports is battleships. And people put canoes in our campus pool and they try to sink the other person's canoe before theirs sinks. That's one of our intramurals. So there's a lot of different fun things like that as far as sports go on campus as well. Is there a biology major at WKU? Can we have the email address once again? Okay, yes. So we do have biology at WKU. We have an exceptional biology program. And actually, one of our newest facilities on campus is our Ogden building. So we have our Ogden College of Science and Technology. So our biology department falls under that. This new building is state of the art. It is absolutely beautiful. And I really can't rave about it enough because we had some of our art students come in and design the interior of the building, and every kind of portion of the building has something to do with some kind of science element. So our ceiling tiles are actually different molecules, shapes, and we have, sound waves, the patterns on our floors. And it's just a really cool building. But yes, biology is part of WKU. We have that program. And you ask about getting the email address once again. So it is iem@wku.edu for that email address. Does WKU accept a study gap? Absolutely. So you don't have to come right out of your high school to start or right after your undergraduate to start a master's program. You can have a gap there. In fact, a lot of our students do that for sure. And especially right now with the times that we're in, we know things are a bit odd with all of COVID restrictions. So a lot of our students who had applied and had been accepted for our fall semester happening and starting right now couldn't physically get to us because their embassies were closed in their own countries. So a lot of our students are starting online this semester and then joining us in the spring. But then a lot of our students are just taking a gap and taking some time to work in their home countries as well and then joining us. So that's absolutely okay as well. Again, we have questions about scholarships. For that, like I said, the best advice I can give you is to send us an email and we can talk different scholarships because there are all these different ones. They all have different criteria. So a lot of them are merit-based. For our main merit-based scholarship for international students, for example, we're usually looking for a 3.0 grade point average on the American scale, which again, we'll evaluate for you. But that's just our main merit scholarship. Again, we have so many different ones to stack on top of that. Any other last questions? I think we have just a little bit of time left. All right. Well, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I really hope that this has been very informative. And like I said, if you want to send us an email, we're here for any questions you have. I know sometimes after I do things like this, I forget questions and then I think of them right after. That's totally fine. So reach out to us through email. Again, that's iem@wku.edu. So thank you all so much. I believe, does anyone want to come over at the end to end us? Or we're good? All right. Okay. Well, again, thank you all. I really appreciate it. Very nice to meet you. Again, my name is Bryson. It's been my pleasure to tell you a little bit about Western Kentucky University. Bye, everyone.